6:32. We have a quorum. I'll call a planning board meeting to order. This meeting is called in, meeting's called to order pursuant to chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022 as amended. This meeting is being conducted in a remote Zoom format. The public has been provided with adequate alternative means of access via Zoom as noted in the posted meeting notice, along with access and participation instructions. As chair, I hereby notify all participants that this meeting is also being recorded by the town of Hadley through Hadley Media and will be made accessible to the public in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20F. Any person who intends to record or transmit this meeting must inform the chairman at this time. Is there anybody recording? Seeing none. Those in attendance for the planning board are Joe Zagrodnik, myself, Jim Maximowski, Mark Dunn, Bill Dwyer, and Kishore Parmar. And you are up more, Mr. Dunn.
Can I just reference your legalese?
Yes.
Because we're used to doing hybrid, so in person. So being the 2nd of June, 2026, I would call to order the Hadley Smart Growth Steering Committee with a quorum formed by myself, Mark Dunn, Andrew Ganatic, and Kishore Parmar. That would be, and we have Ronnie Williams. So we have 4 out of 5. Thank you.
Okay. First up for order for the planning board is to reorganize after our election of last week. Do I hear any nominations?
I nominate the current slate,
I will second that motion.
including all secondary positions like Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, CPA. I think that's all we have.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Parmar, aye.
Zagrodnik, aye.
Motion passes with the same board as we've had in the last couple of years. Thank you very much. Next, before we get into any further, it's not really on an agenda, but doesn't really need to be. Kayla has submitted her resignation. She has accepted an offer to move on to greener pastures. And good luck, Kayla. And we're sorry to see you go. You've been a great help to all the boards you're associated with. We're sorry to see you go, but understanding that you got to do what you got to do to make yourself better, and wish you luck.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you all, and Jim and Bill will touch base tomorrow and figure out how to tie up some loose ends.
Yeah. Okay. And for the next is, I guess we're going to discuss the 40R bylaw.
I didn't know if we were at the top or if you had any public to attend to. Are we?
Nope, you're on the agenda for the right after the board reorganization.
All right.
Yep.
Well, we have been working for, I don't know, close to a year with Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. We had some changeover on the steering committee, both from the town and from PVPC. But the product has moved steadily forward, and I humbly submit it, or actually I'm going to ask Ken. We have shared with each of you a copy of the draft. I think it's, what is it, Ken, 26 pages? Something like that.
22.
22 pages, and I humbly submit it saying it is the first ordinance I have ever been involved with drafting. So as the planning board all received it and had a chance to look through it, we seek your wise counsel.
Mark, one question, when it is brought before the town meeting, traditionally a zoning change needs 2/3 vote. What prompts this to require only a 50% majority vote?
I think Ken can answer that. I think that comes from Beacon Hill.
I will need to confirm that, but I think, Joe, one of the things that happened since the 2022 housing legislation, or 2022-23, some zoning amendments, I believe 40R is one of them, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, only now require a majority vote rather than a 2/3 vote, as has been the case in the past. So any of your other zoning amendments would need to go through the 2/3, but things like ADUs, back when, in addition to other types of housing related, and I can provide the board a list of what that might look like for some zoning amendments, but really it is to allow or permit ease of housing production, and that's, I think, the reasoning why it only requires a majority vote for this zoning amendment.
Well, I suspected that was the case, that the legislature imposed their will on the local planning boards. This has been happening very frequently now, and it seems like the local boards are being shunted aside for the will of the legislature, not the will of the local electorate. So
Mr. Chair, for the benefit of the public that might watch this tonight or later, do you want me to make a rough presentation? I mean,
Yes, let's go.
yeah,
okay,
before we start attacking, we should at least know what we're attacking. Who wants to share the plan? So, we were tasked with looking at the town and where we could put a 40R district that would promote housing along public transit. And so we worked along Route 9. We did public input sessions. I think we did 2 or 3 last year and gathered, we had maps and let people draw on them, let the public draw on them, let the public respond to some ideas of what housing types they would like to see or not see. There's a whole slew of input that we gathered from those public sessions that were, I think each one was maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. And we did one during the day and one at night and maybe a third one. Anyway, what we came up with from that input was, excuse me, two smart growth overlay districts along Route 9. One is to the east, and it's pretty much, it includes the malls and goes, I think, up to maybe where the bike path cuts under Route 9. And then the other one is from the bike path west, and that pretty much, I believe, overlays commonly with the village center district. And we designed them to be a little bit different so that the one with the village center was more in keeping architecturally with that scale and style, and the district to the east with the malls and the commercial business areas was a little more liberal with density and height of buildings, keeping within what the fire department would support. So I don't know if anyone's going to share.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
And Ken, please feel free to flesh out my quick outline of a presentation.
Yeah, yeah, I can add a little bit to that, I think, just for context, just for those, at home following. Ken Comey, I'm the Director of Land Use and Environment at the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. And it's great to be back in Hadley. Yeah, I was working as the consulting planner for a couple of years prior to some other staff that you've been working with. I'm also here with my colleague, Evan Mastriani, who's been working with me on a lot of municipal planning and zoning kind of work that we have going all over the valley. But this particular project, was a grant funded project for the town to look at 40R as a method of, permitting types of development, particularly housing, through, a very kind of formulaic process. And I think, Mark, you explained it very well with regards to summarizing kind of the input that you have received over the past year, in addition to the arrival at the map that's before the board and the public. I think what I will say is that this is a draft. Obviously, the planning board will continue to talk about this. But this paired with the bylaw, which follows the model from the Commonwealth and the 40R program. I think you've gone through the process with PVPC staff to come up with the bylaw, and what is before you is something that reflects a typical exploration of 40R. I think you've also identified your sub-districts that are, shown in blue and green on the screen. And from there, I think figuring out how future development may be permitted in town. But I think for the most part, you covered that particular explanation very well.
I just also want to add that for anyone seeing this for the first time in the public, it may seem like a lot of land and if you just run away with it and imagine housing just peppering all that. In reality, most of this is already developed. There's actually very little, compared to what it looks like. There's very little available, developable parcels. And also, I would just also illustrate that we show the green and the blue show where the districts would be if we defined it as including whole parcels that are bisected by the boundaries that we used with the yellow and the green. Or it could just be that you had to build within the green and yellow boundaries. But that was beyond our legal knowledge to know how complicated that would be, what the implications would be. So that's something
Okay.
that's
Can
up for discussion. Yes, go ahead.
I ask a question?
Yes.
So I purposely didn't read anything before this meeting so that I wouldn't prejudice myself one way or the other.
Okay.
So what are we looking at? I see green and blue, and I see lines within the green and blue. So what are you proposing?
So we came up with those dashed lines. So to the east, there's a yellow dashed line, which was to the north. It was so many feet off of Route 9. And then we just followed, what is that? Is that East Hadley or whatever that, I can't think of it right now, the road that takes you into South Amherst. But so we just took it to that line. And then the color shows all the parcels that are within that district. And so if we wanted to say any parcel that touches that district, you could build within the whole parcel, then that's why we showed the green to the east and the blue to the west. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
Well,
okay, now I understand, now what I'm looking at,
Right.
okay.
So we're kind of offering two options, like here's the base area with the dashed lines that we came up with, and then we didn't come to a decision on whether parcels that are bisected by that should be able to build outside the district because they're parcels partially. We didn't know the legal ramifications.
Mark, that's Mill Valley.
Mill Valley, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ronnie. And I'll also note for the record, I believe our last member, not last, our other member, Randy Iser, joined. So I'm going to include him with the credit and blame of being a member of a wise member of our steering committee.
When, because I don't want to make this meeting last forever,
Sure.
when do you want to critique the different proposals? I'm assuming you don't want to do it tonight because that may be a very long meeting.
Yeah. Do you want to do that as a special
I
meeting?
think you
So,
want to just dedicate one planning board meeting
yeah,
just to the critiquing this proposal.
sure.
Okay,
That makes a lot of sense, and that way we don't cheat the people of Hadley that have business that they would like to do.
So Mark, under 40R, what percentage of this housing would have to be for affordable housing?
Ken, do you know those numbers?
That is in accordance with 40R, which follows the template, 20%.
20%.
20%?
So yeah,
Right.
the bylaw, is
So-
correct under section 5.1 that says, yeah, 20% of housing units constructed shall be affordable housing.
So,
It's a waiver.
and so just to let you know, Joe, when we discussed this, when we were drafting the bylaw, that is from the state template, and I don't think we can change it. And we had,
This is kind of,
if I could just say, Joe, we had developers with us at the meeting who said it's not, they can't afford to build it. So it's what the state mandates, but it may prevent any, it may make it unviable unless they did something really dense like at the mall. Does that address what you were going to say, or?
well, no, because we've been operating under the premise that the state says 10% was the cutoff. In other words, if your community did not have 10% of affordable housing, any developer could come in, overrule your local zoning and put a new development wherever they want it to be.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, it seems like the ground rules have changed to 20%. It's almost double the factor that we were operating under when we were doing our subdivision, or whether we're asking the new developer to come in for a percentage, so we wouldn't be caught in that mandated thing. But now,
Well, if I could just reply to that, Joe, I think your 10% applies to the entirety of land within Hadley. In this case, we're making a special district, and you could make it smaller if you want. If that's what the board wants, we can tighten it up and say this is where we're interested in 20% affordable. But I really don't think there's a lot of options there. I'm afraid this is something that we could pass, and we might get one project, if that.
well, you never know what the aspect of commercial is. For example, J.C. Penney, let's take one store, for example. If that goes under they could knock down that whole section of the mall and put 40R housing there. That would be a substantial change. And my other question is, what would it be, what benefit would it be to the town? I mean, Randy gave a very dedicated speech that we should get more housing for more revenue. Now, I understand that commercial or business generates more revenue per square foot than housing. So is this going to decrease or increase our potential for increasing our overall net tax gain?
I think one of the benefits would be that in the long run, this could support our school system because if you study the state demographics, there was an article that Bill sent out to us from what was it, the Beacon something. And Hadley was one of the aging demographic communities,
Mark,
young people either can't afford or don't want to come live here. And so, you could see our schools starting to peter away.
we're not alone, Marks. All of Franklin County is losing population and their school systems are basically cut in half. We're still pretty much at 35, 36 kids per class. So
that's today, yes.
So there are some benefits. If we get a 40R district approved, if I'm remembering correctly, we get state money just for adopting a district.
That's a one-time, yep.
And then we get further state money for every unit that we build out in the district.
Again, yes.
What are the limitations on that money? That it has to be used for certain processes, for certain items?
That's a good question. Do you know that, Ken?
Off the top of my head, no, but there are some successful 40R districts in the valley. So maybe doing some additional research as to how that 40R, if it just goes to the town coffers and the town figures out how to use that money. But I think to Bill's, the start of Bill's conversation with regards to the benefits, yeah, he's correct that the town would be getting these zoning incentive payments for any developable or any unit of housing that's created, in addition to a density bonus payment if there's affordability requirements that were not previously allowed as of right. So if you add more to affordability within this particular district, there's some additional monies. But I think the idea here is to streamline the permitting for those that may want to be exploring mixed use, may want to be exploring additional more density of housing. But it is just creating the as of right nature of the type of housing development in this particular corridor.
And this is not anything that this doesn't require. Well, the town has to adopt it, but the town is not going to be building affordable units or market rate units for that matter.
Right.
It's just creating an opportunity.
And just to be everybody understands, this is not just about housing. This is a mixed use situation. We want commercial on the first floor and living on any other floors above that. Again, it's not just housing.
Well, this is not new, Randy. This smart growth, pardon the term, has been pushed by the state for the last 10 years. So this is not new.
So one thing I would suggest going forward is we do have, as part of the long-range plan, a development constraints plan.
Overlay that,
And
yeah.
I am looking at this and I see, first of all, one large parcel in there. In fact, the easternmost our westernmost parcel on the green block
Mhm.
is in APR.
Okay,
And others I recognize have development constraints such as wetlands.
right, like going
So,
towards Venture Way and things like that, right?
so it might it might make the plan less startling. I
If it-
understand why you did it this way, but by the time you factor in some of the development constraints, it may be smaller significantly.
Yeah, yeah.
What is our goal, our target, and the reason for this? Is it because people can't afford housing? Is it because our population is increasing? I know I say this ad nauseum, but these could be student stuffers as well. And just because the University of Massachusetts has abdicated the responsibility for housing their students, should it be our responsibility to build housing for them too?
Mark, where can I get the entire text of this bylaw?
We sent it out, I sent it to Bill, right? And you sent it around?
I believe so.
So you should have it in an email. That would have been maybe a week or two ago.
I think last week.
Yeah. I don't know if that included the map.
And to answer Joe's question, all the above reasons for doing this, that people can't afford to live in town, especially our kids and grandkids. Some of them are fortunate, but most of them can't afford to live in town. And as far as the students goes, the goal is not to create student housing per se. If students happen to get in there, then it's going to be up to the landlord to make sure that they behave themselves.
I think the other thing we talked about was there are a lot of older residents who want to stay in Hadley and have large houses and have nowhere in Hadley to move to. And one of the things about the 40R is, Route 9 has public transportation, which could be expanded, and then that would free up houses for some younger families who might want to be here.
Right. And then enabling people as they age to stay
we-
with their
We, as the planning board, have addressed that. We have rezoned a lot of our town for 55 and older housing. So we have addressed that issue, and this is just compounding it. It's not only, I don't think we have that many elderly parents in Hadley.
Well, those,
If you look at the zoning that we have already indicated for 55 and older housing, it's significant.
The other purpose of this was, I live on East Street Commons. We had to build all this infrastructure to live here. Route 9 already has utilities, it has sewer, it has water, where we don't want to keep having to develop stuff all
Well,
over town.
That's a good point. That's going to be another one of my questions. We, at certain times, are 80% of sewer capacity now. And we're going to have to either expand our sewer capacity or we're going to have to go to the regional plant with Amherst. So this is not necessarily guaranteed that it will not fill up our sewer
Mhm.
system the way it is.
well, Joe, I can see your concerns, but there are
Well,
already efforts.
Mark, I mean, I think we have to have some concerns. It's, if we present it without concerns, we get nailed at the town meeting and we go, we don't know the answers. I think it's better presented to the board and we'll understand.
Well, as you said, the Amherst Waste Plant, which is within Hadley, on our east border was designed as a regional for us to connect to, and we have not needed that, but it was designed for the future, and the future is here, or it's coming. So
Well,
there is an effort, if I could finish, Joe, there is an effort to connect, and that we were trying to fund that, was it last fall? We were looking to see if CPA funds could help with the study to look into that connection, but the naysayers shot that down.
And the other thing, Joe, if this comes to fruition, it's not a free pass for anybody to just come in and say, you got this bylaw, I'm going to do this. It's going to be subject to site plan review, I'm sure. And if somebody comes in with, let's say they come in with a huge project and they say, we need this much sewer capacity, and we are not tied into Amherst, we will have to tell them, sorry, you can't do it. We don't have the capacity for it. So it's not something that we just look the other way and everybody does what they want to do and we get overrun.
Good questions, though, Joe. Thank you. You're a good devil's advocate.
Now, I am not finding the an email from you, Mark, with this in it. I remember it coming. I thought I did forward it. I just don't see it
Right.
in my sent items here.
What are you looking for the zone, for the bylaw?
Yes.
Yeah, I found it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
What
Good.
was the date of that?
Hold it. You sent it. 5/26, you sent it, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ken sent it to me on the 20th.
Oh, yes. Okay. Found it. Yeah, the 40R bylaw draft and the boundary map draft. Yes.
Good. All right.
Yep.
And we are certainly not at a point where we think we've got this thing nailed down. We want to hear feedback from as many people as we can, and hopefully it's going to make sense. I mean, that's part of we were tasked with, is to figure out if this makes sense for the town.
Back to the sewer, I'd just like to make one historical editorial comment. Amherst went through a tremendous growth spurt with their paparazzo was putting a lot of houses in, and they did not have the sewer capacity. And so they came up with several options in the town of Amherst. And after viewing all these options, Amherst decided to put the sewer plant in Hadley.
Does that generate any revenue for us, Joe?
Well, where is it located, Mark?
At the back end of UMass, baby.
It's in Hadley.
Yes.
But it's municipal, so no, we don't get revenue from it. We would get revenue from, just to be very clear, affordable housing is taxable just as regular housing is. It's not a nonprofit situation. So the more we can build, the more new growth we bring.
Okay,
And I'd like to say one last thing, if I may, Jimmy. The, Joe asked about the, value of commercial versus residential. And we certainly can't predict the future, but brick and mortar businesses, unless it's a restaurant, seem to be going by the wayside unless it's it's Walmart or Target or something like that. But yeah, I don't think that this mixed use is going to overtake everything that we have now. And if it does come to fruition, you're going to be building up instead of out. And so you get more value per square foot than you would if you just have one floor.
So July 7 is our first July meeting. And that is also usually the day we've been reserving for dealing with Pioneer Valley Planning Commission as well. So would it make sense to continue this to July 7th?
that's exactly what I was going to suggest, Mr. Dwyer.
I would be in agreement. Anyone on the steering committee feel otherwise?
No, it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's basically a month from now, so we have time to organize ourselves before
Yeah.
then.
Makes sense to me.
Very good.
Does it have to be a Zoom meeting or can it be an open to the public?
It's Zoom open to the public. Unless you want to go and attend, unless you want to conduct the meeting, Mr. Zagodnik.
You could do we would certainly invite the planning board to come join us at the
Yeah,
at the senior center where we do our hybrids. If you want to meet in person and we spread the maps out on the table and try to have it on the screen, but
yeah, we might want to have an agenda where we do two things in that meeting: is one, review it, and then our normal business.
yeah.
That makes sense, Keisha. If later on, before it goes to the town meeting, then we can debate that later.
So you want to have a hybrid meeting that night, Mr. Dunn? Are you suggesting that?
That sounds good. Well, do you want to do do you want to do our hybrid and then critique it at a planning board meeting, or do a combined? We've been meeting on Wednesdays,
Well,
and
Mark, I'm not necessarily saying our next one should be
yeah.
open to the public, but let's iron out some of the questions so we do have legitimate answers to the public if we do decide to go in that direction. That's all I'm saying.
I
Well,
would
actually,
only
we
add
are
that
open to the public.
the public is here. It says so right there, public.
Well, maybe along that idea, maybe at the July 7th meeting, we still be a Zoom meeting. And with the 40R committee and the planning board and PVPC, we discuss the concerns and what we think should be changed. And then maybe have another hybrid, then we could go maybe to a hybrid meeting where we can, to what was just talked about, have a better bylaw and maybe better comments available to the public if they ask more.
Well, you ought to be, I agree.
Sure.
You're such a good politician, Jim.
Yeah, so maybe we have a later in July steering committee meeting and have that, and we advertise it to try and draw in the public more than we get at our standing planning board meetings.
I honestly don't think we're going to get a big public input on either of the meetings, because just from prior experience, you'll get a few people, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to get a lot.
Yeah,
And the majority of people that are gonna have comments are gonna show up at town meeting.
that's true. Well, if Kishore brings cookies, maybe we'll get a good turnout.
But it's definitely worth going forward with with that idea.
I like it. If that's what we're gonna do, is this a time for me to adjourn the steering committee and we can go on with planning board, or do you want to stay joint?
Do you wanna, you wanna add any new members?
Yeah, I had two potentially interested. I think there was an email, Bill, that you got from Evan.
One was Rick Bramucci, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just emailed me today and said he's just got too much on his plate. He said he'd like to be involved, but he just can't commit.
Okay.
So, so he gratefully declined. Trying to remember Evan's last name. I think he emailed you.
Evan Jacobs.
Evan Jacobs, yes, I think he emailed you, Bill, like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I think if you search your email for EJ, I think that's how his email starts, with EJ at.
Since you've lost some people, I'll make a motion to add Evan Jacobs to the roster of the
Smart Growth Steering
Smart Growth
Committee.
Steering Committee.
I would second that.
Got a motion, a second. Any comments or comments, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Of the planning board?
Yes.
Not I.
Dwyer, aye.
Examaski, aye.
Farmar, aye.
Raddick, aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Yeah, you nominate him, but Mark, but the planning board has to officially appoint him.
Right.
This is Ronnie. I will not be able to be at that July 7th meeting, but I have utter faith in my committee members to answer questions and present things. So,
Thank you.
And by adding a new member, we have helped you make quorum for that meeting.
Right, so motion to adjourn the Smart Growth Steering Committee meeting.
Second. Anyone adverse to that? If not, I would call a vote of the steering committee.
We got to roll call it.
Roll call it. So Mark Dunn, aye.
Let's see, we got to figure this out.
Ronnie,
aye.
Andrew, you're muted.
Aye.
Thank you. Kishore,
Aye.
Randy.
Aye.
I think that's all five of us. Going to six, does that raise our quorum to four?
No, you've always been based, the quorum is based on the number of authorized positions, not the number of current members.
All right.
So if you're at seven, I think there's 7 members on your committee.
I think we had five.
We had
lost
5.
We lost Justin, was it? And we lost Mike. Well, Kishore replaced Mike.
So if you're at 5 members, your quorum is always 3.
Yeah.
Even if you only have 3 members left, everyone has to attend.
Okay.
And the quorum is based on the
Okay.
total commitment.
Okay.
So if we have 6 members,
I think we're now up to 6 members.
then what's the quorum?
I think it'd still be 3, I would say.
I'm not going to question the attorney. All right. So steering committee is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. And we will email about the next meeting if we haven't already scheduled it. Thank you all for showing up.
Okay.
And you're welcome to stay on and listen to the planning board. You would be the few public that seem to be interested in it.
Okay. Return to the planning board, just the planning board meeting. And do we have anybody here filing applications for any future projects? Nobody? Do we have anybody here for general zone bylaw questions? Land use, development? Nothing? Okay. We have no public hearing scheduled because it is a town election day. I hope everybody voted. It's a town person. And with that, I guess Mr. Comia is representing PVPC for the time being.
What time?
Yes, for the time being, and thinking about the new fiscal year, as I mentioned, Evan Mastriani has been helping me with many of the other planning boards that I'm currently providing these consulting services to. So I think, looking at it for at least the next couple of months as a team approach, it'll be myself and Evan possibly working on the various projects that I think, you might be seeking. I think my understanding, and the board can let me know, was with both Kyle and Aiden, who may have attended your meetings. The last conversation, my understanding was in regards to parking for the board. And I don't know if that is something that's still happening. I think the other idea here is to talk about what the new fiscal year's work plan looks like. I know that looking at the agenda, it looks like you might have some ideas with regards to zoning. This is also an opportunity for me to let you know, as the director of the Land Use and Environment Department, get to see some technical assistance opportunities for the board and for the town. I know that you recently and have discussed solar and battery storage. The DOER, the Department of Energy Resources, will be issuing some technical assistance to help the communities in the Pioneer Valley work on their zoning bylaws for those particular uses. So that's an announcement that will be forthcoming. In addition to that, DOER will be in the Pioneer Valley region for a hybrid meeting on June 18th, which that communication will probably be out to planning board chairs, so you, Jim, and other people and other stakeholders that may be interested in that for the future. But I think this is the opportunity for the board to let us know at PVPC what it is that you might be looking at, in addition to just kind of the year-end conversations that I recall from working with the board maybe 2 years ago. But it's nice to see you all on Zoom. Looks the same, with the same board. But very happy to work with you in whatever it is that the board might be looking at for this upcoming new fiscal year.
Okay.
Ken, just to bring you up to date, we had a meeting with the select board and the planning board with their town council regarding the standalone battery storage system that is wants to locate over our aquifer protection area.
Yep.
And
Let's not go there, Joe.
no, I'm saying perhaps he should talk to you about it.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. So don't jump to any conclusions, Bill.
Okay, well, that actually is one of the things. I do have a few items. We've had some suggestions from our new town administrator for some things we might like to look at.
Oh, yeah.
So that is actually on the list of possible things to discuss for the fall town meeting. Yeah, I think, Ken, we were looking at a couple of things. I had put the uh, flood overlay bylaw changes. I understand that there may be a new bylaw coming, new model bylaw coming out for flood overlay districts.
There's going to be a new map. So the map will, I think the idea here with regards to this is we are seeking some grant funds to help the communities in the Hampshire County region with their bylaws to ensure that they meet the FEMA standard. With that said, if that grant opportunity takes hold, then obviously we would, assist the town through that particular process. But you are right. Yeah, we would probably want to be looking at with the new map changes that are forthcoming, looking at ensuring that your bylaw meets that particular standard. That's all. And it's there's a model that MEMA has provided.
Ken, Jim, or Bill, or anyone on the board, certainly the new map has been presented. Has it increased the floodplain in Hadley at all? Has it changed it dramatically, or is it just tweak certain areas?
I think what I'll say, and I don't know if there's anyone else, on the board that may have looked at the maps. I haven't looked at them for Hadley particularly, but just looking at other regional communities, it has increased. So there's a lot more area that's now in the flood zone. Yeah, so there, I think particularly, I believe, we worked on something a couple of years ago with regards to maybe these conversations for was it
Yeah, I definitely remember that we did work. You worked on updating our flood overlay.
Yeah.
Probably 5 years ago now.
Yeah. So I think part of the process is because of the new map, just making sure that still holds. And usually that process includes the review of the bylaw and then sharing any amendments and or even just the current bylaw with the state MEMA folks to ensure that it meets the standards for the National Flood Insurance Program.
Well, when the original zoning map, the floodplains map came out, they came to the town and asked for our input. It appears we're not being asked for our input this time, if there are any changes.
Thought they asked for input last year.
Pardon?
Wasn't there like a time period, but now it's ironclad?
Well, that's there. I think you're correct, Mark, and certainly the floodplain. I mean the dams up above, north of us, had something to do with reducing the amount of floodplain that was originally presented to the town.
Yeah, I think they had a public input period, not like they advertised it with a full page ad in the paper, but
So I think this is also something that will probably have bad memories for you, Ken. We're looking at a senior housing project, and we have an inclusionary zoning requirement of 15%. And the builder is saying that I really would have a lot of trouble building under those circumstances. And our bylaw does provide that you will either provide your 15% within your development elsewhere in Hadley, and we still have the provision for a payment in lieu, but we never were able to settle on a verbal formula
right.
for how to calculate payment in lieu. So I think that seems to be sort of back on the table, and we'd probably be interested in maybe taking another look at what is out there
Sure.
and seeing if anyone else has come up with a elegant but simple, or simple but elegant solution. Because we probably spent half an hour each meeting for almost a year beating it up, and we never got anywhere.
Yeah, I remember Mike did some good work on that.
Yeah, and I think what I'll say is probably that particular payment will be a lot higher based on the construction costs of today versus
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago when we last talked about this. But yes, I think that's very helpful for context for because there are some communities, and I think even recently I've read up on some, because I was trying to be proactive, because I was like, I wonder if they ever tackled that payment in lieu of before this meeting, and you just provided me the context. So looking at those communities and providing the board some examples, yes, we can do that.
Bill, are you including perhaps a slight reduction in the percentage that we're looking for affordable housing, or is that not on the table as well? Or everything?
Everything's on the table.
Okay,
Anything's
Maybe.
possible.
all right.
I think we do have a little bit of breathing room, because with all 50 units of the Econo Lodge being considered affordable, that's going to increase our percentage when those come online next year.
Correct. Excellent point. Yeah.
So, but still, we have another project in front of us, and we have just permitted a prior one, knowing that there's a long lead time between permitting and shovels in the ground. There's still room to talk about things like that, but the other was a rental model, so it's a little easier to manage affordability with rental units than it is with wholly owned condo units. And then I know part of this, I'm not sure we're necessarily asking you to jump in on it, but just in the sense of what we're working on, we've had a request to look at enlarging the size cap on accessory dwelling units. We had a request to look at food trucks, which our general bylaw committee is also working on. And Nate Malloy suggested we take a look at we've had our solar bylaw in place for quite some time before battery storage was an issue, and there may be I know that's been a hot topic, and we're in litigation on it now ourselves. But whether are there model bylaws that have been promulgated on battery storage?
Yes, both battery storage and solar, and both with battery incorporated into solar. So there are some model bylaws. I think, as I mentioned, Bill, one of the things that may occur or that would occur would be me reaching out, or PVPC staff, because of this new technical assistance funding for working with communities on amending zoning. I think one of the big things, as you probably are preparing for or priming yourself for in the case of additional solar and batteries being built in Hadley, is the regulatory nature of the new permitting process in October, and what that might look like for the town. So, as DOER will be coming to the region, we're going to be learning a lot more and sharing some of this new information with our communities in the region. But yeah, I think probably be able to take a look at your solar and, see how it may or may not be something that you might want to change or based on the model. But I think if there might have been identification of an issue in your model or in your zoning, then we're happy to take a look at that too.
Well, Ken, it seemed like you were assuming that we didn't have any limitations. I mean, we do have limitations
Yeah.
on battery storage.
Yep.
It can be any place in town except over our aquifer
Aquifer,
protection.
yeah.
area.
Yep.
And they're challenging that. So we may lose that one too.
But wasn't that passed by the AG, or like the AG okayed that bylaw?
Correct.
I thought so. I don't think that's being questioned.
Yeah,
It's just-
yeah. I mean, Mark, you were a proponent of that as well. So
Yeah, I don't think that's being questioned. It's being whether we can apply that after the fact. If the
Yes, but-
implication,
They are proceeding under the prior version of the bylaw,
right,
Understood.
which wasn't explicit about
right.
the
And-
aquifer. So anyway, those are the things. Those are the things we're looking at,
Great.
in addition to 40R.
Yeah, I think, just looking at the housekeeping component, I know that Bill, you asked for an invoice that'll be forthcoming to just end the fiscal year. We would need to contract for the new fiscal year. I don't know if the same allocation is provided to PVPC to do this work this year, or if you're looking at another number. Do you know?
I think we have the same budget, but we know it's not going to go as far as it did last year.
Well, that's why Evan is helping, and together we are, working and trying to find some efficiencies with our planning boards. I can't go to every planning board, but Evan is very good at the work that he's doing in the weeds, in the zoning.
Wow, you really know how to butter someone up, Ken.
So I think trying to figure out what that might look like. But yeah, to your point, Bill, yeah, I think we're just gonna be efficient with the budget and ensure that we get the things that you're asking.
Well, yeah, which also reminds me, Ken, we'll need a new contract for the upcoming fiscal year.
Yes,
And so he was asking if it should be the same amount, and I think Bill said yes, although we don't expect to get as many hours out of the same dollars. If that's what I heard.
So I think that as a practical matter, if you could have something ready for us to vote on at our next meeting in 2 weeks,
we'll do.
that'd be fine. Otherwise, if we wait until July, you can bring it with you for that first July meeting.
Great. I'll try to make sure that our procurement staff, take a look at that, but I intend to get that to you before your next meeting.
Anything else for Ken? Thank you very much, Mr. Comey.
Thank
Nice to
you.
work with you again.
Yes, likewise.
Mm.
You all have a great evening.
And you too, Evan.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, even. All right, next up is an admin review for 2070 Street. Do we have somebody here for that?
I think that'd be Jesse.
Yes, I'm here. Let's see. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we went over this about a month ago for the initial screening. Let me just see if I can share my screen.
Remind me, Mr. Chairman, what's the address?
It's in the
20
agenda, but it's 27
Okay,
East Hadley Road.
okay.
Oh, East Hadley Road. I'm sorry, not East Street, East Hadley Road. Yeah.
One second. All right, so this is the location, the array. We're doing a 15 panel, or the ground mount portion of the project is 15 panels. We're meeting setbacks. We've showed the adjacent shallow marsh and stream. We're 125 feet away from the marsh. And the array is very low visibility. You can see East Hadley Road is over 200 feet away, I think close to 300 feet. Here's a better visual representation. The array's over here. Here's the roads way down here, other side of the house. And as usual, we're using helical pile ground screws, so no concrete. And here's a photo looking at the house from the array. So looking south towards the road, so you can't even see the road in that photo. Yeah, and on the north edge of the array, which is the high part, it's going to be about 10.5 feet, just for context. I think that's shown on plans we shared with you towards the end, the engineering section. But yeah, let me know. Does anyone have any questions?
These are fixed panels?
Fixed panels, yep, not a tracker.
Okay.
So it'll be at a 25-degree tilt.
What's it, 8 inches off the ground and 12 foot at the top? Is that what it says?
125 inches at the top. So it's
10 feet.
about, yeah, just about 10.5 feet.
Okay.
I'd say give or take 6 inches, depending on the install.
And almost 2.5 feet at the bottom.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we
How
always hit the 24-inch minimum. That's
Yeah.
electrical code.
Yeah, how many panels did you say?
This is 15 panels. The footprint is 17 feet by 17 feet. So from the, from an eagle's view, that's what it would be. And on this particular project, there's only 4 helical piles, so minimally invasive.
Is it roughly 420 420 watt panels?
These, I believe, are 430.
Wow.
So here, let's see. So we're looking at 6.4 DC on the ground mount portion. This project also contains a bunch of roof mount panels, but we're just discussing the ground mount for here.
These efficiency of solar panels have gone up so much in less than 15 years. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
I've got like 14-year-old panels on my shed that are 230 watts.
probably about the same size, right?
Yeah, within inches.
Yeah. Yeah. Next year I bet we'll be looking at 500.
Well, they're now.
Yeah,
Look
I mean,
like one.
around the same size, they're getting they're
Yeah.
smaller and smaller.
Anyways,
But anyway,
anybody else have any questions on this? Everything else is in order, seems to be in order.
So no screening and no ag provision underneath.
No. These are just some homeowners panels, Joe. There's
Yep.
one little spot for residential.
So let me go through the checklist. It's been sent out for review and we have no comments. We're on time for making the decision. It would be a suitable development. Meets the standards for review. Doesn't seem to require any conditions. Site plan showed everything required. We have the specs, line drawings, content information. Technical specs. Signed by a professional engineer. And got the electrical. They are insured. The applicant has site control. Yeah. We have a requirement that there be no installation until evidence has been given that the utility company has been informed. I assume that they have been because you've gotten this far.
yeah, we have permission to interconnect here already. So we have,
There is no land clearing, no soil permeation, wildlife corridors are preserved, and setbacks are met.
Jesse, do you have a number for, I apologize if you already told us, the distance that is off of the road? Looks like it's close to 400 feet.
I don't have, I can give you an estimate
All right.
of, wait, yeah, it's about 350.
Okay.
The plans show, I mean, 190 to the house.
Yeah.
So that's like the minimum, but yeah, we're at about 350.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Dwyer, to interrupt you.
I've gone through the checklist, they've satisfied it, so I'm gonna make a motion. That application satisfies administrative review.
I would second.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Done.
Seconds?
Done. Yep.
Okay, sure. Do we have any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Don, I.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Parmar, aye.
Rodnick, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Very good.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, y'all.
Very good. Next up is, we have a request to act on a letter of support for grant application to replace the town of Hadley water tanks. I believe that was sent out earlier today.
I did not send around the one that came out today, but I sent around the original draft of it. It basically, the PVPC is working with the town to get a grant to replace the water tanks, and they'd like a letter of support.
I liked the first draft. There was a little wording, like the last sentence, that I thought was a little strongly optimistic. I would have maybe reworded like we're confident it will yield something. I can't remember what it was.
Well, let me bring it up. Yeah. Hey, yeah, let me share. Is that the we are confident this project will catalyze?
Yeah, and I don't remember which part of it I thought was a little optimistic. Vacant commercial asset, yeah. I guess catalyze doesn't mean it will bear fruit. It just means it will, you know. I would have maybe said, we're confident this puts these in a more fruitful, lighter. Yeah, I don't know. Catalyze is okay, I guess, if nobody else has an issue.
So you don't like the word catalyze, Mark?
No, I guess I'm okay with that.
Mark, is that assuming that if there's a certain element in the water that it could cause a problem?
I don't think it's the chemical catalyze that it's aiming at, but I guess catalyze is neutral enough. It's not promising, but it's hopeful. So that's good. I
I
would
will make a motion to have the chair sign this letter of support.
I'll second it.
What was the motion, Bill? To have the chairman?
To have the chairman sign.
Okay. Okay, we'll take care of the vote first. We have a second.
Yes.
Motion and second. Any comments or other questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximovsky, aye.
Farmer, aye.
Rodnick, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Should I mail this by paper mail directly to the person at the top?
If
That's
you could-
Secretary Joanna Matias.
No, Jim, if you could sign it and send it to me, because I think Ty and Bond is working with the DPW on it, and they're submitting the grant application. So, if you could send it to me by tomorrow, that would be amazing, because I do think the grant application is due tomorrow.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I just want to make sure
Okay.
where to go. Okay, so I will
Yep.
sign it and email it to you tonight by tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Or
That's
just
perfect. Thank you.
or bring it in.
Or drop it off.
Or you can bring it in.
Or bring it into you tomorrow.
Whatever's, oh, right,
Yep.
because I'm gonna see you at 10 o'clock. Okay, great idea.
Which one, you want me to email it to you or bring it to you tomorrow morning when we have our meeting?
Bring it in tomorrow.
And
I'll print it at my office and you'll just sign it.
Okay,
then you don't have to scan it.
all right. Okay, so I'll sign it. That's fine. Okay. No cheating that way, huh? All right. Let's see. We already talked about some of the planning board. Oh. Any other comments on any of the other items under 5B? Planning board items for a special town meeting? Or any of those things?
I guess we don't have anything new on those.
Okay,
Yeah,
Part of what we've discussed with Ken already.
right.
all right. We have already talked about, well, do you have any new 40R that you haven't already discussed today, Mr. Dunn?
No, I don't think I have to tell you that we have a new
Okay.
member. No, I think you know that.
Oh, approved minutes.
I apologize. I had copied this agenda, so those are old minutes that we've already approved.
Oh, okay.
And I think that might, I think we may just have gotten off track on that. Did you send out new minutes, Kayla?
No, I haven't sent them out. I will send them out for the next meeting.
When Kayla goes on to her great reward, you're going to start using AI to do the minutes, Bill?
Perhaps. There are some functions here on Zoom that I am still trying to master. And one is taking notes, and one is sort of almost a narrative, word for word narrative.
Yeah, that's what I've seen with AI at work. I'm not terribly impressed.
I don't believe we have anything new on either for the executive sessions.
Correct.
Okay. I have no bills for once. So that's good. Anybody else have anything? You see public. Who is public? Do you have anything? And Ronnie Williams.
Ronnie Williams was part of my
Oh, that's right. He was on your committee.
Yeah, I have nothing to say. Maybe I'm the public.
That's
Nothing
fine.
more to say.
Sorry, I forgot you were with Mr. Dunn.
Okay.
Public,
I guess
here for anything or just listening?
nothing from the public, I guess.
Nothing from the public, so.
No comment. Okay,
We'll
well,
call that general public.
can't be anything important.
Okay. I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:55, 7:55.
Second.
Motion a second. Any comments? The only comment I have is this will be our last meeting with Kayla, and good luck in your future endeavors. With that,
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It's
Thank you,
been a
Kayla.
great experience working with you all, and I wish the future of Hadley Planning the best.
roll call vote.
Thank you, Kayla. We're going to miss you. Mark Dunn, yes.
Dwyer, aye.
Max Samosky, aye.
RMRI.
Rodnick, aye.
Meeting is history. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kayla, and thank you, Alex. Good night.